Welcome to Sewing Anastasia, and today I'm going to show you how to add a really cool detail to your sweater or t-shirt or sweatshirt. Any type of shirt will work. We're going to be creating a really cool side detail. Today I'm going to be doing a bow, and then we're going to cut out the excess. So it's going to give the shirt this really cool cutout design with this applique bow on it. And now you can do this with any sort of design as well. It doesn't just have to be a bow, but I love bows, they're cute. But if you want to do it with the bow, you can totally download my free template on the website. There's a link down below in the description. And just real quick, before we get started, if you're really enjoying Sewing Anastasia, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to learn more about sewing, well, check out my online sewing classes and in person. Links are down below. Now let's get back to making this sweater super bow-erific. The first thing you want to do is download and cut out your paper template for the bow. And again, you can use any shape you want, but the bow is going to look super cute. And to complete this project, you are going to want a few additional materials to make this nice and easy. You're going to want some heat and bond. You're going to want some tearaway interfacing and some fabric for your bow. Now that you have your supplies ready and your bow cut out of paper, it's time to work with the heat and bond. So I want you to cut out a piece of heat and bond roughly the size of the bow, but a little bit bigger. And then what we're going to do is take this piece of heat and bond and we're going to iron it onto the fabric for our bow. You might be wondering, what is this heat and bond going to do for us and how is it going to help us? Well, what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to fuse the bow to the outside of the sweater so it doesn't move while we're sewing it down. And with that interfacing on the back, it's going to keep it nice and secure and sturdy. One thing to remember when working with heat and bond is that you want the paper side face up and that rough glue side face down. Otherwise, you're going to heat and bond your iron. And we're going to just seam and bond right onto the fabric. And now we are ready to cut it out. Now that we have the heat and bond attached to the fabric, it's time to trace out the bow on the heat and bond. So I have the bow positioned right over the heat and bond. I'm going to weight it down, and then I'm just going to trace it out here with my water-soluble chalk marker. There we go. And now it's time to cut it out. Now that we have the bow traced out, we can go ahead and cut it out. And now we have our bow cut out. Now that our bow is all cut out, it's time to add it to the side seam of the sweater. So to do this, we're going to remove the back layer of the heat and bond and position it perfectly and then iron it down. Now we're going to peel away the backing of the heat and bond. And what we're left with is a very thin layer of glue on the back of this fabric. And this is going to allow us to position our bow beautifully so that way it doesn't move around on us when we're sewing. So now it's time to position it. When I'm positioning this, I'm putting it right over the side seam, center of the bow. And then I want to make sure that the bow tails are going to be at the hem of the sweater. This is really important for making this work out properly. So once you have it positioned where you want it, you're going to iron it down. I'm going to place my muslin on top and I'm going to fuse it to the sweater. The muslin is going to protect the sweater and it's going to protect the iron from any fusible that might leak out from the side of the bow. And now we have the bow on our sweater. Now we're going to pin on some tearaway interfacing to the back of the sweater to add some more stabilization when we add the satin stitches around the bow. So I have my tearaway interfacing on the back of my sweater, and I'm just going to put a handful of pins in it just to keep it down and in place while I'm sewing around the bow. If you really wanted, you could run some basting stitches around your tearaway interfacing and then remove those later. Totally an option. Now that I have it all pinned down, it's time to go sew. I'm going to be using a medium width satin stitch. The width is 4 millimeters and the length is 0.8 millimeters. I'm going to be positioning the fabric in the center of the foot. I've also put on my zigzag foot, which is the B foot on my Viking machine. Now, depending on the fabric you're using, you might need to make your stitch length longer or shorter. You want to make sure it's moving through the machine. If you feel like it's not moving, make your stitch length longer. And your satin stitch doesn't move very fast because it's making so many tiny stitches. And if any of your pins get close to where you're stitching, just remove them. When you get to the little V in the bow, I want you to leave your needle in on the left position, lift up your foot, and just turn your whole project. So that way you can come down the other side of the bow tail. When you get to the bottom, backstitch and cut. Now let's check out our bow, rip away some fusible, and do some cutting. So our bow is satin stitched on. It's an applique. It looks fantastic. And now when we take it and flip it to the back, you can see that tearaway interfacing. And since it's tearaway, all we need to do is just rip it off. I love the sound of tearaway interfacing. Sounds so cool. It's very gratifying to be able to rip it off. There we go. Now what we need to do is cut the middle of this bow part out here. Now we're going to cut out the space in the middle of the bow here. And when we're cutting, we want to cut next to the satin stitch, but not through it. And the nice thing about the satin stitch is it also reinforces the edge so it no longer is going to fray. Because if you think about it, what is one way we can finish our edges so they don't fray anymore? The zigzag stitch. And the satin stitch is just a bunch of zigzag stitches really, really close to each other. So this edge here that we're cutting away is going to be really nice and reinforced. And you can see that my satin stitch goes all the way down to the bottom of my sweater, making sure that it's no longer going to fall apart. So now we have this really cool opening in the side of our sweater. Look at how cool this bow looks on the side of our sweater. Let's put it on the dress form and take a close look at it. And here's what a really cool bow side detail looks like when it's on. How fun is this? It's got a little cutout. It's got some extra detail. This would look so cute at the bottom of a skirt too, or even at the bottom of a pair of pants. Thanks so much for watching Sew Anastasia today. If you have any questions about this technique, leave it down below. And I would love to know what kind of places you're going to put this creativity. And if you're not doing a bow, what are you gonna put at the side? And I have seen these really awesome embroidery files out there recently that Carolyn shared with me that have these really fun side details. So the creativity is really endless for this. And I can't wait to see what you do with this on your projects. And if you're really enjoying Sew Anastasia, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. And don't forget, we have an online school and you can come in person to take classes with me here in my studio in Chicago. And there's links down below for everything, including the bow pattern. Oh, Iris, would you like to say goodbye? And if you want to check out what's going on in the studio, make sure you follow the Instagram stories. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye. You say goodbye? Bye. Oh yeah, pretty cool, huh? Bye guys.